Today's college students are ambitious. They want to make a difference. But with rising debt and doubts about the value of a degree, many are asking, is college still worth it?
More and more Americans are asking themselves, is a college degree still worth it?
The more loans you have, the more limited you are in terms of what kind of job you can get.
And is college even worth it? It's expensive.
A standard issue degree from State University X isn't necessarily in this economy going to lead to a job right away.
I'm getting an education so I can get a good job.
I am nervous about being able to land a job in the job market right after I graduate.
Definitely some people that are like, do I stay in college or do I actually just work instead?
We're locked in here for 4 years, and if we don't make it worth our time, it could be money down the drain.
We for sure talk a lot about what if we just went and did our own thing and kind of skipped the degree pathway.
My name is Andy Tennell, and I graduated from Utah State University back in 2009. Like a lot of students today, I had big dreams and plenty of questions about where my degree would take me. Years later, I found myself back at Utah State, this time not as a student, but working in the Huntsman School of Business. I knew I'd be working directly with students, but what I didn't expect was how much their journey would remind me of my own. Over the years, I've worked with hundreds of students, hearing their goals, their worries, and their hopes for what comes next. What I've seen is this. College becomes more meaningful when students find something that stretches them beyond the classroom. The degree matters, but it's the growth, the grit, and the real-world experience that often sets students apart. That's why we want to tell this story, because when you see the difference those kinds of experiences can make, not just in careers, but in people, it's worth talking about. So, what does a plane ticket to the other side of the world, a pop-up business class in a developing country, and a cross-country bike ride have to do with that? More than you'd think. Let me explain. This story begins in the college classroom where great teachers lay the foundation. But just like learning to ride a bike, at some point, experience takes over. Students have to hop on and start pedaling.
I think the easiest way to think about experiential learning is it's learning by doing. We have the classroom where we learn important things, and we have out of the classroom where we learn important things.
Students learn best when they apply what they know, when they step beyond the textbook, beyond the lecture hall, and into real situations where they have to adapt, problem solve, and think on their feet.
We have found, and we're not in doubt about this, that if a student, an undergraduate student, can have a great co-curricular experience or extracurricular experience, the likelihood of their being able to be successful in their first job just goes way up.
This is really where learning turns into action, when students take their knowledge and put it to work in the real world. So what if there was a program that allowed students to take everything they're learning in the classroom and use it to create real impact? What if students could spend a whole semester not just studying concepts, but applying them by lifting others, immersed in a culture, a challenge, and a purpose beyond their own? Well, they can. It's called SEED, Small Enterprise Education and Development, a program where students don't just study business, they use it to empower others through a semester-long internship where culture, community, and purpose become the curriculum. For over 15 years, SEED has sent hundreds of students from over 50 different majors around the globe to work alongside aspiring entrepreneurs. Together, SEED interns have mentored and empowered thousands of individuals and small businesses, not through handouts, but through teaching, mentoring, and entrepreneurship. Students teach business principles that unlock real opportunity. They help launch ideas and the people behind them. And they step into a whole new culture and live it, breathe it, and contribute in meaningful ways. It's that connection to people, to purpose, that changes everything. Real people, real impact, real experience. That's the difference maker.
Experiential learning at the Huntsman School of Business has been huge for me. Having the opportunity in my early 20s to go to another country and provide education and help someone elevate their own life is like kind of my wildest dreams, honestly.
I love the SEED program. I'm passionate about it. I love waking up every morning knowing that I'm making a difference in other people's lives.
Being in Cambodia for the SEED program has
completely shifted my perspective on what I want for the future and has changed my heart.
You see what it means to really be happy with nothing, and it makes you take stock of your life.
Every single thought that I have of leaving makes me so sad because it's just been incredible to get to know these people and see the impact that we've been able to make in their lives.
It's been a really great opportunity, and it's really helped me to practice what we've learned in the classroom.
To be able to visit people individually, work with people, and to have a real impact on people's lives and in the world community. It's something very special.
The SEED program has been impactful to me because it's helped me to have a new perspective that anyone can grow and change, and has helped me to reset my focus and where I want to go in life and just my trajectory.
Learning in the classroom is one thing, but being able to apply it to the real world is another life-changing experience.
And then there are students like Marissa Barlow and Michael Scott Peters who would tell you that the impact of SEED didn't end when their internships did. It shaped what came next. Today, as a co-founder and creative director of Nani Swimwear, a multi-million-dollar brand, she still draws on what SEED taught her.
I think the most important thing that I learned from SEED was what business is like outside of the US. Experiencing that firsthand, like working with local people, it's an opportunity that you don't really get every day. Going to the Philippines and the Dominican Republic, I would say the majority of business owners are female. They're starting businesses so they can feed their children, so they can send their children to school, and just creating better lives for their families. That's why they're starting, and that's always stuck with me because at the core of everything that it's so important. And a lot of times here in America, we get so caught up in just making money and, growing our business and scaling it. At the end of the day, all we want is a better life.
Michael Scott Peters was a student body president at Utah State, driven, focused, and already thinking big. Before heading to the Dominican Republic for his SEED internship, he applied for the role of the U.S. Youth Observer to the United Nations, a position that would put him on the global stage. But most of his interviews, they happened while he was still on the ground, immersed in the internship.
When I started the interview, I apologized for the poor Wi-Fi and mentioned, I'm in the DR right now. And they said, well, thanks for taking this interview on your vacation. I said, well, I'm actually here for something called the SEED program. And I said, tell us more. And they threw out the rest of the interview questions. They said, this is so cool. We just want to talk more about what you're doing. And when all was said and done, and I was selected to serve our country, I asked, what made the difference between me and the rest of the Ivy League students? And they said, well, everybody else talked about what they wanted to do as the youth ambassador, but you were actually doing it. I'm confident to say that the SEED experience was that determining factor for me, being able to secure a position with the United Nations.
After his time with the UN, Michael began interviewing with Workday, and once again, SEED stood out.
So I ended up interviewing, and they were really curious about that one line on my resume that talked about the SEED program. They said, tell us more about SEED, and how does that relate to what you'd be doing in sales? And there was a lot we could talk about with negotiation, with leadership, with work ethic, and ended up getting a role to start about 6.5 years ago.
Michael got the job, and today, he's leading a 55-person team across 4 major cities: Salt Lake, San Francisco, Chicago, and Boston. For Marissa and Michael, and hundreds of others, SEED wasn't just a semester abroad, it was a foundation, a launch pad, and a vision of business as a force for good. One of the greatest things about SEED isn't just how it shapes the students who go, it's the lives they touch. Some businesses start with a dream, others start with necessity, but almost all of them grow because someone believed they could.
I have 2 kids, ages 12 and 18. We want them to educate, to finish a degree, for them to have a good future. But the salary that we have now is not enough. So I think this business can help us. And SEED program is a big help to us to accomplish this goal.
Hay muchas personas que no tienen el conocimiento de que existen organizaciones como las que ustedes administran, manejan y son parte de ellas, ¿no? Creo que es necesaria la difusión a muchos más lugares y les agradezco, espero que puedan seguir enviando más jóvenes para que puedan seguir ayudando a mi comunidad de aquí en Trujillo.
They taught me how to advertise on Facebook. Normally when they come, they give me homework to do and I have to do it. They are my teachers. The seed has helped me a lot.
So when we started the business, we only had one printer and a laptop, and it's really hard to offer some services if you have limited resources.
And now we have many devices because of you guys. You help us a lot to have these machines that GCN now is operating.
Pues los estudiantes del programa de SEED me han ayudado mucho. Yo pues desde hace 9 años soy madre soltera, soy el sostén de la familia. Cuando uno tiene el camino solo es un poco más difícil porque cuando hay necesidades a veces uno las puede compartir con alguien más. Pero cuando eres solo, sabes que todo depende de ti. Soy una mujer persistente, fuerte y valiente y creo que eso me ha ayudado a tener mucha determinación para lograr las cosas que quiero en la vida y sobre todo para poder apoyar a mis hijas.
Lilia Pascual's story is proof of what can happen when opportunity meets determination. With just a loan of $100 and the right mentorship, she built a thriving lumber business. Then use that success to start other ventures, support her neighbors, and send her children to college.
Nagsimula ako sa maliit na tindahan na kumikita lang ako ng 500, 500 isang araw. Nung ako po ay nakapagnegosyo ng mga pigs, coco lumber, doon na po ako kumita ng malaki. Minsan, sa buwan ko, 40,000, 30,000. Sa coco lumber lang po yun. Inaabot pa minsan na 100,000. Diyan po ako, sa pag-coco lumber ko, meron na rin akong mga nabiling mga lupa na 7 piraso na meron ng mga paupahan. Nagpapasalamat po ako sa lahat ng seed program na tumulong at nagturo sa akin para sa aming community. Sila po ang naging gabay ko para sa aking magandang buhay na hinarap ngayon.
These are more than businesses. They're stories being rewritten for generations to come. You know that bike analogy we talked about earlier? Well, turns out bikes are more than just a metaphor in this story. They help power the future of SEED.
Cross-country bike ride. It was an absolutely crazy experience, but we did it for the SEED program. We were successful in riding from the west coast of Oregon, starting in Florence, to the east coast of Yorktown, Virginia. It's about 4,000 miles. It took us 47 days, and we brought tremendous publicity to the SEED program, to experiential learning is the most important way to learn in higher education. And we raised quite a bit of money for student scholarships so that students from any income level can participate in the SEED program. Many people tell us, they say, that must have been really, really hard to do that, to ride almost 4,000 miles across America. But the fact is, we had trained well, and preparation precedes power. So it wasn't as hard as people might think. But the other thing that was so important is we had a really strong purpose that drove us every single day. And so every morning we got up and there was no decision as to whether we were going to ride. It's kind of similar to the SEED program. Many students from a variety of majors aren't sure that they can do it. And they get out there and they realize they're well prepared to handle, and they get through it and they do really well. Employers today are looking for experiential learning from students. They want them to do more than just study theory and research in the classroom. They want them to develop soft skills of communication and teamwork. And so this experience was an amazing experience for our students to go out on the SEED program and to work with people in third world countries that live in poverty and see what their lives are like, and to see what entrepreneurship and business skills do to change those lives. So experiential learning is #1 for us, for as many students as we can send out into the world. We achieved our goal on the bike ride of raising funds for the SEED program. But the more that we can raise, the more support we get, the more students we can send. And we would love to grow it 2 or 3 times as big as it is right now.
This is the kind of learning that sticks, that shapes careers and character, that doesn't just prepare students to get a job, but to create change. College is changing, and what makes the biggest difference might just be what happens outside of the classroom. So, what does a plane ticket to the other side of the world, a pop-up business class in a developing country, and a cross-country bike ride have to do with education?
That's for you to experience.